So I'm not even sure. I was kind of debating whether I should do this video or not. This will be verification of the lambs that we'd lost. One is pretty brutal, and I'll show you why it was a dog and not a coyote, because I did the verification on the bite marks and the style of kill. I just thought I'd come in here with the girls here, just do a walk here, because then I can show you the locations and everything where it all happened. I could sit down in the shade and we'll go over and I'll show you the difference between a wolf and a coyote bite mark. I'll go over the Livestock Protection Program quickly with you. A sheet with the ladies here, and we'll just go over the LPP program really quickly here before we get into too much of the other details on the incident. So the Livestock Protection Program is a program that's basically put on by the BC cattlemen's and the conservation, and it's a way to raise awareness to the best management practices and minimize predation for the farmers and ranchers to their livestock. So what that means is best management practice is for us, livestock guardian dogs, putting up that sheet mesh, putting up electric fencing, make sure we bring our livestock in at night when the predation might increase more. There could be other guardian animals, donkeys or something let loose. There could be fencing off different range areas. There's disposing of your dead stock in appropriate manners. The other thing it does is it provides services for the mitigation of the predator problem. So we have had coyote attacks in this fields before and in other areas, and they will pay to have a trapper come out, because a trapper, you do have to pay for them, and they have to pull permits to trap in your areas. I'm not a trapper, I don't have all the information on that. But even to trap on our property, they are required to pull permitting. The Livestock Protection Program will actually get trappers up, or they can also get hunters up. The other thing is to reduce the economic impact on our livestock owners, so that's us. And what that means is with helping with those best management practices, it'll help us reduce our losses on our animals. They also pay for dead stock for coyote, bear, and wolf attacks, I do believe. They'll pay a percentage of that. We don't get the full value of, say, you or a lamb, but we do get something, which is better than nothing. The next thing is it does provide just generic data for improvement to these resources. So if they find that certain areas are getting an increase in coyotes or getting an increase in dog attacks, they could possibly change legislation, or they could change the hunting practices in that area. They could also recommend conservation services. So if there's a dead deer on a highway, the conservation services usually take them up to an area like this where there's nobody around and just dump them in the bush, but they could start recommending maybe to take them to a different area where the predation is actually a little bit lower, to try and draw those guys out and away from our area. So and just data in general, so that maybe more money can go back into the program, and we could actually increase the amount that we're getting paid for our losses, so that it actually will cover the cost of the animal, because at this point you barely cover the cost of the animal when they pay us. Hi. And then, like I said, the last one is assistant compensation, which is basically, like I said, we get paid for a percentage for those kills. Dog kills we don't get paid for, so that was the incident we recently went through. The only eligible producers at the current time are beef, dairy, and sheep producers are the only ones eligible for this program. And like I said, dog kills don't count. That is up to the owners of the animals. So the way the whole program works is we find something dead. We call up the verification program at the CO. He puts us in contact with a verifier, somebody that can identify somebody that can identify how the animal was killed, and that is using tracks, that's using bite marks, that's using the style of kill of the animal, the location where the animal is, any other sort of sightings from the livestock owner of what could have been in the area. So that's how they verify that. Terry and I are both verifiers. We can actually verify the kill ourselves. So we can go over the style of kill, and that's what we're gonna do after this. I'll show you a situation surrounding it, but I will actually do the actual verification of the bite marks on the lamb after, and I will warn you before we get into that. So then you verify, then they send a compensation form after they review whether it was eligible predation, if you can actually get your compensation sent to you. And then they'll have mitigation at the same time. So we've had trappers set up traps up here. I've gone out and hunted the coyotes myself. We don't get paid, we just do it. The trappers come up and he set up and he got, I think, 2 coyotes. So there's that, and then just a review after everything to make sure that everything is going good and we haven't had any more issues. Why don't we go over a little bit of how it was all found. I know I did some stuff on that video where I was fencing, but I guess I could splice that in here and we could go over that and I could show you. Right behind me here in these trees where these guys are sort of tucked in here, just in this area, sort of where I'm sitting, is where I found the lamb number 2 on the that you'll see if you watch the next part. He was a 25-pound-ish purebred unregistered Dorper lamb. He was found here, not really tucked into the tree, so not where somebody would be considered tucked in and snuggling like into a lamb group. He was found here, and when I noted that the sheep were actually stampeding the day that I caught that dog in here, this is the area they came to, sort of tuck into the trees and into a safe area. So that's why we do suspect that he got trampled in this area, because there was no reason why he should have just been found down, considering the fact that I caught this dog and he had done a mauling, the second lamb that I don't think he mauled it. I think he just chased the sheep and they trampled the little dude. So off we go. I'll show you the area where the lamb was found. And I think I'll just splice in right here some of that video from the other day. That way I don't have to go over it all again. So you can see where the sheep are right through there. That's their field. You can sort of see them every now and then. I was right about here and I saw them ripping across the field from here. See, you can see them pretty good. Scared out of their mind, just ripping through that field right there. So I was coming through here and you see that fence up there. I've been finding the rails down on it over the past few days quite a bit. And I couldn't figure out why the rails were down, but I pull right up I'm right about here, and that dog comes flying over here, runs through all of this, past my trailers. None of the sheep are over here whatsoever. They're all hiding up on that hill right there with them. Way up in those trees up there. Oh. See, they like to come over here and eat, but way up in those trees, way up there, there was a lone ewe standing there looking just scared out of her mind. So I found the little dude right in that tall grass, if this will refocus out. So where those guys are, I actually walked right past him to go check that mama out, because I saw her over there while everybody's over here. Then I walked from her, I sort of followed her back here to these guys, and one of our ewes had a limp, so I just sort of watched all them and looked at them. And then I did a walk back along this fence line, and then I was doing a walk over here to check if there was footprints, like if the dog was in digging gopher holes. So I clearly missed that lamb. So we pushed a sheep in. I went all along up here over to there, and I always check those far trees, and I saw the white thing from that angle, so I came across, and sure enough, little dude was dead. So what we're going to be looking at here is you would have just seen there where I spliced in from the other day when I was out fencing. That way you don't have to go watch that whole video if you don't want, but I would recommend going and watching that whole video just to plug myself. You know, go watch our videos. Anyways, I couldn't see him from where I was, because I actually found over in these trees over here, there was a lone ewe standing, just scared out of her mind and shaking. So I actually jumped the fence right over in this location, over right about here. I jumped the fence and ran straight across the field over to see what was going on with her when I caught that dog in there. Keep in mind the grass in here was quite a bit taller than it is now. So yeah, I jumped over the fence right at that jack fence, that rail fence up there, that snake fence. So for the past, oh gosh, over 2 weeks, I've been finding rails down on that, knocked over. And I kept thinking might be the deer, because we do have a deer population that hangs out over here. But we've never had an issue with deer knocking that. They can clear that. So when I watched that dog, he knocked a bunch of rails down, which told me clearly that now the reason the rails have been down is because that dog had kept getting loose. Found that lamb in this tall grass. It was quite a bit taller here, and he was lying right here facing down the hill. I didn't photograph or take any pictures of that, but we're right in this area here, fairly close to this, but that was in that whole area those sheep were running through. So that dog got him down right here and then mauled him right in this area here. There was no footprints because the grass is too tall, you can tell. I even checked out the dirt and dust over in the, because the neighbors said that, oh, he's over hunting gophers, but I could not find any footprints in the dirt for a dog. So He just came over here strictly to chase the lambs. Coyotes have very definite, like smaller prints, and this was a big white guardian dog, so he would have had big prints. But what I did is I walked right past him to these trees and then went around here with that ewe behind that pile where we just were, and then checked my ewes out up here, because I had one ewe with a really bad limp. Like, she'd gotten chased so hard she must have tripped, and she had a pretty severe limp. So that's why I missed the lamb that was lying here. But you could just imagine his head was down, his legs were this way, right in this taller grass here. It was a little bit taller than it was. You couldn't have seen him as easily. And then yeah, the little guy that got trampled was right there. So I'm gonna put a big warning here. Just be warned, it is kind of violent that you're going to see. It's already a dead lamb. We have to measure the bite spacing. There's not a lot of blood, but it is pretty gory. So there'll be a warning as soon as I'm done talking here, warning you about what you're about to see. You can skip ahead. Down in the bottom there'll be a chapter markers. Skip ahead to the part where I start talking about the bite spacing and the methods of kill, and you don't have to see any of that. It's two lambs. The one is actually, he's the one that got trampled, and he's a smaller one, but the bigger one is the one that we confirmed that it is actually a dog kill. So like I said, chapter markers at the bottom, just warning you, trying to give fair warning. YouTube might flag this video. I don't know where I'll put it. I don't know what the chapter markers of this will be. Bottom there might be something that says review. That'll be after this whole kill and verification things, and I'll see you either after we verify this guy, or you'll just skip straight to it. This is just for education for anybody that has livestock and they want to learn how to do the identification. The program is available to learn. Anyways, there'll be a warning coming up. I'm just trying to give fair warning here. So yeah, I'm just like I said, still trying to warn you, because I don't want to be flagged out for not giving you plenty of warning here. I'm trying to give you plenty of warning. So anyways, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so purebred Dorper ram lamb. This is one that was killed on Tuesday. Yeah. Tuesday, and that would be the 19th. Whatever, date's unimportant. I think it was a dog kill. Teeth and sizer marks on the neck are that is 1 inch, 1 3/8 diameter apart, and this one is 1/4 inch, and that one is 1/4 inch in size. Suspected dog, well, pretty much confirmed dog kill, but multiple repositions and bites on the neck, clear punctures. Oh gosh, without cleaning up the neck on this side, we've got a puncture wound here. Large, see if I can't find the overall. How far apart the neck would have been. There's another clear puncture mark there on the bottom. That would also, oh, I do have millimeters on this side. Oops. Let's use the millimeter side. Let's use the millimeters because we're in Canada, yeah? So we'll go back to these one here. And it is roughly 4 centimeters apart, and the punctures are about, oh come on, give me just about one, oh okay, that's a centimeter and that's a centimeter. So those two bite marks are approximately a centimeter, and then whatever I said their distance apart was 4 centimeters apart, 5 centimeters. Trying to read this, I don't use it. About 4.5 centimeters apart. Lots of bites and repositions. Clear damage to the skin and throat. Mauling attack. So inexperienced killer. We suspected the dog because we found it was a large dog, like a white dog. It was a neighbor's dog. It was found in the field. It was found chasing the livestock. So this lamb was found the day before the incident for this lamb, facing downhill. Suspected it got trampled, so suspected was that the dog was in the field the day before this incident chasing the sheep, and this one got trampled by the flock as it was fleeing from the dog. Can't hold that to the dog because we can't Not enough evidence to hold accountable because there's no bite marks on it, but it was a crush for this one here. So yeah, there's documentation on those kills there. Unfortunately, that one is a purebred Dorper Ram, unregistered, and that one is a purebred, could be registered with like absolutely perfect coloring. So not that the loss of life is any less for the one that isn't purebred, but realistically that one is worth probably $500, and he's probably worth about $380, $400 for the market lamb or an unregistered breeding ram, but he was supposed to be a breeding ram. So just documenting that for our predator verification. Unfortunately, we're not verified for dog kills. That's up to the landowners to expense us, but because we can prove that was a dog, they got to expense us. Can't prove that was a dog, so unfortunately it is what it is. That is the sadness of that. So now we take them that way and put them in the manure pile to dispose of them cleanly. All right, so if you watched that, you watched that. If you didn't, don't worry about it. I had a rough breakdown here, but we'll just go over it again. The lamb that was killed, and clearly killed by a dog, was a 37 to 40 pound purebred registerable Dorper Ram lamb with absolutely beautiful coloring. He's one of our really nice ewes, Felicia. He was fairly large lamb, which in the video I didn't really go over a lot of description on why, but why we verified as a dog versus, I think I said that there was a lot of, there's a lot of repositioning, which a coyote will do too, especially on a large lamb like we just had there, or a larger lamb. You got to keep in mind coyotes are on the smaller side, especially up here. We have a lot of smaller coyotes. If a coyote even got close to the size of where those bite spacings were, it would have been a large coyote, which meant older, and it should have been more effective at killing. Coyotes might also too go for the back end a little bit as the animal's running away, trying to slow them down. That's more for like deer and cattle, but they will do it to a sheep. They also will drag their prey out. So when they killed that lamb, it would not have left it in that field. It would have drug it out towards some trees for shelter. It's still, like I said, the spacing on the bite mark would have been indicative, if it was a coyote, of an extremely unnaturally large coyote, which would have meant it would have been easy to drag that big lamb out. So that's why we're leaning towards a dog, plus the situation where I actually caught a dog in our field. What I'm going to do here, for those of you that did not watch the video, because, you know, no worries, don't worry about it. I mean, if you didn't want to watch it, you didn't want to watch it. But I have here bite mark. So the top one is the space of a coyote. I hope that's turning the right way. And you can see it's about 3 centimeters distance across the two teeth, and very small puncture wounds. Every other coyote kill that we've had where they haven't been small lambs, like the second lamb, the little 25-pounder guy, they don't usually tear them open. They'll just bruise the neck a lot, and you'll have to skin them back or shave the neck to try and find that those puncture bruises. This bottom one is a wolf. We're at 4.5 spacing between the two incisors, and you can see that is a small wolf. That 1 centimeter diameter puncture, like that is a small wolf. The bottom one is roughly the size of that dog. This is the dog right there. That is what we found on that lamb, is that spacing there. Those teeth are vastly too large for a coyote with too much spacing for a coyote. That tells us that size there is right in line with big white dog. It's not like Cassie, or size of Cassie in bed, you know, the big dogs like that. So that's where that spacing there would line up with. It's not quite big enough to be a wolf, but it's too big to be a coyote, especially on the diameter of the teeth. So that is clearly, it can't be a coyote. And that it's been over 2023 right now. It's been over 25 years since a wolf was last seen approximately 2 kilometers south of us. So, and a wolf would have taken that carcass out of there as well. This was an animal got on there. It had the bite force to actually break the skull on the animal and do puncture the skin like right through the throat. It tore right through. So it had a huge amount of bite force, way outside of a coyote's range. So, and then just it repositioned a lot even after the death. So it's clearly a dog. You can see that, like, just look at that. Like, do you see coyote, wolf, and that what was on our lamb is right there. It's too far apart for a coyote. It's too big in diameter for a coyote. It's too small for a wolf for diameter, because that's a small wolf. But the diameter of the teeth is in line with a wolf. So, and then the bite force was too much, and the nature of the kill, it just didn't know what it was doing. It was biting. And the fact that we saw the dog, I mean, there's not much else you can say about it. So I hope that brought some explanation. Show you here what I used is, I just got this seamstress tape from the fabric store. This was actually supposed to be for doing body work on trucks and stuff, but I've been using it for doing my fencing around here to get the measurement of the wire to wrap around the post. It's also really good for doing verification on your animals. A knife for skinning the animal back in case, like, if it was a coyote kill and it had just suffocated that animal, we would have had to skin it back and find the bruising on the inside of the hide. He would have needed a knife for that. The landowners of those dogs are responsible for the compensating us for the lamb, but that happened on the 19th of July 2023. I should probably send off that verification form and fill it all in, but like I said, because it was a dog attack, the only thing it would do is provide information for their data collection. That's where we're at with that. I hope you guys learned something there. It's a sad reality, and unfortunately, in 11 years of being up here, we have never, ever once had an issue with dogs. Most people are good with them, and this one really shouldn't have happened. The little lambs, we took them down that road there. We got a big manure pile out there. As per the best management practices, it is highly recommended that instead of burial, we dispose of in the manure pile, because it takes care of that intense heat in that manure, breaks down any bacteria, diseases or anything. It'll just break it down and burn it up. The little bodies will be burned up in less than 20 days. There'll be nothing left. There might be a little bit of hair. So it is actually what is recommended by and the Ministry of Agriculture of BC. They all recommend manure disposal. If you've got the capability of doing it, deep bury is the next one. Usually if it's a coyote kill, you feel like they're doing what nature built them to do. When dogs kill, it's because somebody failed, and it's the owner. The owner has failed. Yeah, so that is what it is. It's sad because now we've got 2 lambs down, and that one that got trampled, unfortunately, I can't prove that it was their dog, but evidence points towards it was chasing them and it got him run over. There's no other reason why he would have got crushed like he was. And when I took a look at how he was found, and knowing that, okay, there was a stampede, the clear indications that he got crunched was I should have skinned him back and actually looked for better marks on him too, but I couldn't have held him accountable anyways. There was no bite marks, so it's a sad one. It was completely preventable, and if it was prevented, those dogs wouldn't be on my radar now, and they're now on every rancher's radar up here. So that is what it is. I mean, if you guys learned something, yet again, I'm rambling, but it is an important thing to talk about. I hope you learned something. I hope YouTube doesn't flag this thing right out. It was for educational purposes. I got to get back to work here because I'm actually working on the rest of the fencing there. I just thought I'd go over this video really quick because I've been debating on whether we should post it up or not, but there it is. Okay, you guys have a good day. We'll be back later with something else. I don't know when this is coming out, but yeah, we'll be back with something else. Probably more fencing or getting ready for the classic. Catch you guys on the next one. Go watch the fencing video where we're doing whatever this is, Ram-Catraz, because the next video should either be out before or after this one where we finish it all off and move the boys out. So catch you later.